Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a slightly late April wrap up. It's not too late, it's only like, what is it, the 6th of May or something? 4th of May, oh it's fine, we're not even late. But anyway, today we're going to be doing my May wrap up. I don't know how many books I read in May, I didn't count before I started filming this. Not a massive amount, but I read quite a few bigger books this month, so I'm very happy with the amount I read. It was a reasonably good reading month as well. So anyway, let's just get stuck straight into it. So the first book I read this month I don't actually have to hand to show you because I listened to it on audio and I don't own a physical copy, kind of thank goodness. And it is To Hate Adam Connor by Ella Mays. I don't know where to start, where to go, where to end with this one. It was weird. It was really bloody weird. I'm not sure that the female main character knows any words that aren't synonyms for penis. It's all she talks about all the time. About everyone, not even just about the male main character. She just talks about peni all the bloody time, and it was really weird and really annoying. Also, by the end of the book, and it's a reasonably sized book, obviously I don't have it to show you, but I know from seeing them like in the shops that these Ella Mays books are of a reasonable size. By the end of it, I just wasn't convinced that the two main characters actually knew each other really at all, because they just talk about willies. Like, do you actually know anything about each other that would warrant you having an emotional connection? I personally think no, they don't. But yeah, I gave it 2 stars. I didn't enjoy it. The whole stalking thing was weird. Just weird from the get-go, just a very odd book. The next book I read was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I did read this and the next one in a vlog, so I won't go into too much detail about them, just because I don't want to bore you if you have watched that vlog. But I gave this 4 stars. I went into it thinking, oh, it's going to be a 6-star read, and that was probably part of my problem. I still obviously really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to continuing the series. I did enjoy it. It was a very fun book. I just thought, because I've heard so much about the tension between the two main characters, I thought it was actual enemies to lovers, but it isn't. It is more so on the female main character's side, but the male main character flirts with her from the very first time they see each other, which is fine. It wasn't insta-love or anything. He's just a flirty person, which is fine. But just for me personally, that didn't build tension. And it is a personal thing. Someone else might find that very tension-filled. I just prefer it when they actually don't like each other. But yeah, it was really fun. I really liked the premise. I went into it in more detail in that vlog, but this is comparable to The Hunger Games, but not in a copycat kind of way. I haven't read Red Queen, so I can't compare it to that, which it also gets compared to. But in terms of The Hunger Games, it definitely takes elements, but it's not in a weird copy kind of way. There are so many differences between this and The Hunger Games. But if you like The Hunger Games, and you like dystopia, and you also like fantasy, I think this is brilliant. Because it is a fantasy book, but it's definitely got those dystopian elements to it as well. So yeah, I really did enjoy this. I'm really looking forward to carrying on with the series. The next book I read was in that same blog, so again, I won't go into too much detail on this, but it is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I went into this thinking I was going to like it, but I didn't expect to love it, because it's, I don't know how to describe this. I want to say slower, but it isn't slow. Like, there are always things happening. There's a literal war that happens in this duology. Like, it's not slow, it's just different. It's a different vibe to like this high stakes kind of fantasy. But even this is high stakes though, because there's a war, but I don't know how to describe it. It's just not as kind of high fantasy, I suppose, as some of the other fantasies that I read and enjoy. But oh my god, I love this. I literally loved it. I gave it 4.5 purely because of the ending. I won't obviously spoil anything, spoiler free about all of these books. But the ending, I didn't like. I thought it was just a bit of a like, oh come on, really? And it did set up nicely for the second book. I'll talk about the second book soon because I've read it later in the month. But yeah, I just kind of wish, I didn't want it to all wrap up neatly in a bow because obviously it's a duology. I get that it was going to end on some kind of cliffhanger, that is absolutely fine. But just the particular cliffhanger, I was like, oh, for God's sake. Like, really? Could we not have thought of something else? And it did lead nicely into the second book, though. Like, having now read the second book, I do get it. I just didn't like it very much at the time. But still 4.5 stars. I love this. I love the vibes of it. It's got a very historical fiction kind of vibe alongside the fantasy, and I love historical fiction, so yeah. I won't talk about it anymore because I think I've spoken about this already in 2 videos this month, but yeah, I really, really love this one. The next book I read was Happy Place by Emily Henry. I read a lot of very anticipated books this month. Obviously this is quite old. I bought it when it came out and didn't read it because I was like so excited for it that I just kept putting it off. Unfortunately, I didn't love it. I liked it. I had a fun time reading it. I think I've settled on a 3.75. I was between a 3.5 and a 4. A 4 feels a little bit too high. A 3.5 definitely feels too low. So I think 3.75. I like the vibe, I like the setting, I like the friend group, I like the characters. But I'm not convinced they should be together. I know, because everyone loves this book and loves this couple. But I just by the end wasn't convinced, because I could have been convinced. I don't think it's, you know, a life altering, they should never speak again thing. Like, there was definitely potential to make me believe they should be together. But by the end I felt like she was making more effort than him, and it was all his fault. Like, you could tell that he obviously liked her, but I thought she was doing more than him, and like, obviously again, won't spoil anything, but I just felt like she played more of a role at the end in them getting back together than he did. But it was all his fault. I wanted him to just do more. I think that was the problem. I wanted him to be a bit bolder in showing Harriet that he actually, you know, still loved her and wanted to be with her. But yeah, I did like it. I don't, you know, it doesn't make me angry. I don't look back on this and, you know, feel any kind of way. But I thought I would feel some kind of way. That's kind of the problem. I thought I would adore this and think about it every day forever, and that's not the case. It was just kind of a fine book for me. The next book I read, again, don't have to hand because I listened to it on audio, and it is Crave by Tracy Wolff. I also read this in a vlog, and I ended up giving this one 3 stars. It was one of those books that it was so bad that it was kind of good. Like, it's awful. It's so bad. It's a Twilight ripoff, first and foremost. And then it does have like some original elements. None of them are very good, but like, it's so bad it is good, you know? Like, it's just, it's entertaining. It's not groundbreaking literature, you know? It's just a fun time. And it was a fun time. It was very dramatic, let me tell you that. I would recommend it if you want like a really fun, it's a vampire book, by the way. If you just want a fun like vampire vibe, which is completely ridiculous but entertaining, then I would recommend it. Just probably don't go in thinking this is going to be like a 5-star, you know, kind of vibe, because for me it isn't. But it is fun, so I would recommend it on that basis. If you just want pure entertainment, then I would recommend Crave. I realise I don't talk that much in these videos about what these books are about. Do you want me to do that? I can quickly round off. To Hate Adam Connor is a weird book where she stalks him over a wall and then they fall in love, so that's that. Powerless is like the Hunger Games but different and make it fantasy. There is this like competition that she gets chosen to enter, and the prince is also entering, and then it's the romance between them, and then all of the political kind of stuff that's going on as well. Divine Rivals is about 2 workplace rivals. The beginning of the book, they are writing for a newspaper and a war is starting, and then as the duology goes on, we focus more on the war. The first book is more so about their romance in the war, and then I'll speak about what the second book is about a little bit without spoilers when I get to that one. Happy Place, this couple have broken up. They were together for 8 years, they were engaged, but they've not told their friends that they've broken up, and they're going on a big friend trip, and their plan was to tell their friends that they're not together, but then something gets revealed, which means they can't do that anymore, so they have to pretend that they are still together even though they're not, and they were together for 8 years, so obviously that is kind of painful for them to do. Crave is a trashy vampire book, and then we're back to the next book that I read. So the next one is Part of Your World. I always get the words mixed up. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This one is a contemporary romance where her car not breaks down, she drives it into a ditch to avoid a raccoon, I think it was. Maybe it wasn't a raccoon, some kind of animal. And he finds her, pulls her out of the ditch. They have a one-night stand, and then it goes from there. It is an age gap. She is older than him, I think. She's 37 and he's 28-ish, around those ages, so not like a massive age gap. But she feels like they are in very different stages of life. Which they kind of are, and they live very different lives. They have very different lifestyles as well. So it's kind of about that. their romance, her kind of coming to terms with that and dealing with that. And, you know, she is quite resistant to be with him because of those factors. And I love this. I gave it 4 stars. It was very cute. It's not one that I'm going to think of all the time. It took a bit of brain power to remember there what happened in the book. But it was so cute. I really enjoyed it. I'm so excited to read more Abby Jimenez. I think some of her other books, particularly Yours Truly, I think that's the one with anxiety wrapping. I think that will kind of maybe click with me and I'll connect to that a bit more on an emotional level. But this one was just a fun, cute vibe. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend. It's my first Abby Jimenez as well, so it's made me very excited to read some more of her books. The next one is a controversial letdown, and I'm so sorry. It's Queen of Shadows, and I gave it 2.5 stars. I don't know what's wrong with me and the Throne of Glass series. I loved the first book so much. I read Throne of Glass first. I wouldn't recommend that. I would read Assassin's Blade first if I was to do it again. But I read Throne of Glass first, really enjoyed it, give it 4 stars. I enjoyed the second one. I think I gave that like 4 or 4.25. And then from Heir of Fire on, it went downhill for me, personally. Obviously, I can't talk about it too much because this is the 4th book in a series, so I don't want to spoil anything. But I just didn't enjoy it. I spoke about it in a vlog, not with spoilers, but just in a bit more detail. I don't want to dwell on it because I know everyone's going to hate me for it. But it's just not for me. I am still going to carry on with the series. I'm going to do the tandem next, then read Kingdom of Ash. I'm intrigued enough to know how the series is going to end, and I don't hate it. Like, I don't think of this series and feel angry. I just feel nothing. I have no connection to any of the characters, and the man on chapters are winding me right up the bend. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave that one there. I did speak about it in a vlog if you are interested. What's it called? The cover of the book is in the thumbnail of the video. It's only a couple of videos back if you do want to hear a bit more about my thoughts. But yeah, not for me, unfortunately. Sorry if the angle has slightly changed. My memory card got full. Next book I read was Hot House Flower by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I read it in the same video as Queen of Shadows. It was my continuing series video for this month. And I went into this with low expectations because I've kind of been in a rut with the Addicted Calloway Sisters series again. I liked the first one, the second one was fine, didn't really like the third one, really didn't like Kiss the Sky. And this is an age gap, a controversial, potentially illegal age gap. I will say it doesn't end up being illegal. They don't do anything at all until she is over the age of 18, not like the day she turns 18. They wait a while. But it's definitely still, you know, a point of contention. It's always in the back of my mind that, like, they met when she was 15. So I went into this with very low expectations, and I rated it 4.25 stars. I really liked it. I just love Daisy. I love Daisy. I'm not like her, but I relate to her in a lot of ways, and I just loved it. I loved being in Daisy's head and finally seeing more than just like the bubbly golden retriever that everyone else kind of sees her as. It was just such a heartbreaking, gorgeous book. I like them together, I really do. Again, it is still in the back of my mind that there is that age gap, but I do like them as a couple, and I didn't think I would. The only thing that annoyed me about this was there was a couple of weird comments about, like, from Reich's point of view, which put me about. And also, I get that he swears a lot. Believe it or not, I swear a lot in my day-to-day life as well. But literally every other line there's an F-bomb and like no other swear words. Like, if we're gonna swear every other line, let's get creative. Like, we don't just need to say the F word every other line. And like, again, I don't mind swearing, it doesn't bother me at all, but when I'm reading a book it's just a bit like, does it need to be every other line? Like, it's a bit jarring to read it that often. But yeah, I really love this. I'm excited now to read the rest of the series. It's got me back, you know, in the mind space that I actually want to carry on and finish the series. But yeah, 4.25 stars. I love Daisy Calloway so much. We've got 2 books left, one of which was a DNF. This isn't it. This is Ruthless Vows, like I mentioned earlier. The next book in, well, the last book in the duology. I loved it. Again, it was so good. I went into this quite nervous because a lot of people didn't love the second one and the direction it went down. But because of how the first one ended, the romance was kind of fledged by the end of the first book. So I went into this one knowing we probably wouldn't be focusing on the romance as much, and we definitely didn't. It was definitely more about the war. but I just loved it. Again, I am a historical fiction girl. I love history, I love learning about things, and obviously this isn't a real war, this isn't teaching me anything, but it just had that vibe of like a historical fiction book, that just heartbreaking, harrowing. And I always say the war in this duology feels different to other fantasy wars. It is a war between gods, so it's not like a real war, but it's just different. They have like actual big armies and they live in trenches, and like the world wars that have happened and other wars as well, like real life wars, it has that vibe rather than like an ACOTAR war vibe. And again, as a historical fiction girl and as someone who is very interested in wars and loves learning about history, I really enjoyed that element. So yeah, I loved the direction that this one went in personally. I get why people wouldn't if you wanted more of the romance. I'm very much a romance girl myself, but I also am a historical fiction girl, so I really, really loved this one. 4.25 stars. Did I already say that? I don't know, I can't remember. And then the last book I read was a DNF. So that was a nice way to end the month. It was Lingus by Mariana Zapata. I probably didn't even get 5% in before I DNF'd it. I think it is the quickest DNF of all time for me. I started listening to it on audio, and basically I didn't read anything about this book before I went in. So the premise is she's at a porn convention. I didn't know it was anything to do with that. That doesn't bother me, I don't care. So she's at this porn convention and she says right at the beginning of the book that we should stop like vilifying porn and sex, and we should stop feeling ashamed about it. Great, cool message, excited for the book. She then proceeds for the next 10 minutes to slag everybody off at the porn convention, saying, oh, they're creepy. What did she call, I think I wrote it down. Oh yeah, she called a group of girls the B word. I don't swear on my channel because I just don't. Anyway, called a group of girls a nasty name because they were wearing denim shorts. And I don't think either I missed it or didn't get to this bit, but I saw in another review that she called a girl with big boobs a monstrosity. Like, but you've literally just said we need to stop vilifying all this, and we need to let people explore and show their sexuality without like vilifying them for it, but you are slagging everybody off. So I gave up. I was like, I'm not reading this. I don't like this woman. I don't want to read a book about her romance because she doesn't deserve one, because she's horrible. So yeah, DNF. I don't rate DNFs. I didn't get, depends. If I get like really far in, I might, if there's something big I don't like about it or something controversial. But yeah, I literally got like probably not even 5% in and gave up on this one. So yeah, that was a lovely way to end my month. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!